Billionaire CEO is saved by black housekeeper. She noticed symptoms no one else had. On a quiet night shift at Lewis Global, Alice notices David's slightly speech, uneven smile, and unsteady walk. The 48 floors are nearly dark.
Loss.
Angelus pulses in neon behind the windows. The air conditioner blows cold. The smell of burnt coffee lingers. Servers hum softly. Alice, clean uniform, gloves, hair pulled into a perfect bun, skin reflecting the light like velvet, pushes the cleaning cart through the C-suite hallway. She feels the weight of the night on her body, but her eyes stay sharp. David appears around the corner, suit a bit wrinkled, tie loosened. He tries to smile, but only half his face responds. His step falters. The coffee cup shakes. "Mr. Lewis?" Alice's voice is firm. "Are you feeling okay?" The word doesn't come out fully. His tongue stumbles. He leans. On the wall, breathing shallow. The world narrows down to 4 letters Alice knows from the health clinic poster in Inglewood. Fast, face. She sees the asymmetry. Arms. "Can you raise both arms for me?" The left arm lifts. The right hesitates. Speech. "Say your full name, please." The speech is slow and thick. Time. Time is brain. She grabs her phone. "I'm calling 911. Brian, the floor's security guard, materializes with his usual clipboard. "Hey, don't make a scene. Mr. Lewis has a 7 a.m. meeting. Your housekeeping. Go back to your floor." Alice looks at Brian, steady. If I don't call now, he could lose his speech, or worse. "You're not a doctor." He blocks the cart with his hand. "You'll thank me later for avoiding drama." David tries to say something. A noise comes out. His knee buckles. He slides down the wall. Alice insists. Quick typing. 911, emergencies. "What's your emergency?" Suspected stroke. Male, 38, slurred speech, uneven smile, arm weakness. Address, Lewis Global, downtown LA, 48th floor. Last time I saw him normal was 1:55. She remembers. The elevator. David passed her and said good night clearly and completely. It's 2:07 now. Unit en route, keep him comfortable. No food or drinks. Watch his breathing. Brian whispers, irritated. "You just signed your termination." Alice kneels beside David. "Mr. Lewis, listen to my voice. Stay with me, okay? Breathe. Look at me." His blue-gray eyes, confused, lock onto hers. A childlike fear flashes. She holds his hand, warm, shaky. Distant sirens, growing, stopping. Heavy doors, footsteps. 2 paramedics and a paramedic from LAFD enter with a gurney, backpacks, and monitor. "Who called?" "I did," Alice points. Positive fast signs. "Started about 12 minutes ago." Perfect. Time is brain. The paramedic places. The pulse oximeter checks blood pressure. 180/90, irregular rhythm. The colleague tests commands. "Squeeze my fingers." The right side fails. Brian tries to take over. "He's the CEO. I handle logistics." The paramedic cuts in. Professional. "Right now, logistics are medical." To Alice. "You coming?" "If I can help." "You can. We need the exact onset time." Elevator. Doors close. The world becomes a box of metal and light. Alice keeps eye contact with David. "You're safe." "We're going to the hospital." "You're going to be okay." He tries to grip her hand, fingers semi-rigid. Ank. Almost a whisper. On the ground floor, the night smells like diesel and old rain. Ambulance open, gurney sliding in. Straps monitor beeping. The city shifts lights like scattered constellations. The radio says, "Stroke alert, male, 38. Estimated onset 1:55 2 o'clock. Arrival in 5. Inside the ambulance, the paramedic speaks fast, calm. On arrival, we go straight to CT. No bleeding, then we consider thrombolysis. Door to needle under 30. Let's move. Alice nods, absorbing every word. She explains, he was normal. At 1:55, at 2:07 slurred speech, uneven smile, right arm weakness. The pen marks the form. Recording time saves futures. David stares at the ceiling, eyes watery. Don't, he tries to finish. Gives up. Breathes through his mouth. The alarms are stable. Alice leans in and whispers, I'm here. I won't leave you alone. Cedars. Doors open. The hallway becomes a runway. Code stroke. Team in white and blue, focused faces. A doctor runs alongside the stretcher. CT now. Who has the LK low last known well? 1:55, Alice replies. He spoke to me normally. Perfect. Thank you. The doctor looks at her for a second, recognizing the importance. Time is brain. They vanish through the radiology door. Alice stands under the imaging sign, hands trembling, breath tight. Her heart beats to the rhythm of monitors she can no longer hear. Her phone vibrates. Corporate email notification. Subject in all caps. Urgent summons protocol violation. Badge deactivated. The hallway seems to narrow. Footsteps echo. The CT room door lights up. In procedure, do not enter. Alice swallows hard, reads the first line of the email. You are temporarily suspended for acting outside your role. Her throat tightens. She looks toward the closed door where the man who saved jobs and fortunes now fights to save his speech and where she just helped save his life. Behind her, Brian appears, whispering, Told you. Alice clenches her fist, breathes, lifts her chin. The CT door unlocks with a click. A doctor appears, grave expression. We need you now. A decision has to be made in minutes. The morning hasn't even broken when Alice returns to the building. The lobby smells like wet marble and cheap coffee. She taps her badge at the turnstile. A red beep. Locked. The day shift security guard looks up, already informed. Miss Clark, please follow me to HR. The hallway to HR feels longer than yesterday. Thick carpet, glass walls, perfect plants. Inside the room, a light table, 2 chairs, a hand sanitizer dispenser. On the other side, the HR manager, light skin, gray suit, trained smile. I'm Curran Carter. Please, have a seat. Alice adjusts her uniform, the flawless bun, takes a breath. Of course. First of all, Karen says, looking at a tablet. We appreciate your dedication. However, there was a protocol breach. Cleaning staff are not authorized to contact medical services on behalf of the company without triggering the internal chain. Alice keeps her voice steady. He was having a stroke. Time is brain. I called 911. Karen doesn't look up. I understand. But there are procedures. You overstepped your role. You created a legal and image risk. Some executives reported that you insisted on staying in the ambulance. That could be perceived as seeking attention. Visibility? The word is heavy. I held his hand because he was scared. That's all. The door opens quietly. Brian enters, clipboard again. He doesn't even try to hide the relief of being on the right side of the glass. As I said, yesterday she was warned. Karen slides a paper forward. Temporary suspension. Internal investigation. Your badge is deactivated until further notice. You will be paid for hours already worked, but no additional compensation until the case is closed. I'm a contractor, Alice says firmly. My contract is with West Clean Services, I fulfilled my human and civil duty. And we will speak with Westclean, Karen replies, as flat as ever. This company respects life, but it also respects procedure. Please leave accompanied by security for your own protection. Alice looks at her hands. Clean, strong, the same hands that held a terrified billionaires. Can I at least get my things from my locker? They will be sent to you. What is your current address? The question is polite but cold. Alice recites it. Each number feels heavier than the last. In the elevator, Brian tries to sound friendly. Nothing personal, okay? Rules are rules. Rules that forget people, she replies. No bitterness. Just an old weariness. Outside, the LA wind is dry. Bus 210. Plastic seats, the smell of disinfectant and fast food. The city rushes past the window. Digital billboards, a line of homeless under the awning, a healthcare ad with a smile too perfect. Her phone buzzes with messages from the Westclean group. Heard you wanted attention. Brave, but reckless. Better hope they don't fire you. Alice silences the chat. Her body shakes too late. She rests her forehead against the cool glass, closes her eyes for a second. She sees those blue-gray eyes searching for hers again. Inglewood welcomes her with its mosaic. 24-hour laundromats, Latin markets, a barbershop with loud music, the K-line cutting the sky in black lines. In the simple building where she lives, her mother waits at the apartment door. Ruth Clark, dark-skinned like her daughter, 58, hands marked from washing other people's clothes. My girl, come in. Alice tries to smile. They suspended me. The living room is small, but smells like fresh coffee and lavender soap. A worn couch, a shelf with photos, her nephew's graduation, her aunt's wedding in Bakersfield, Alice in uniform with a shy smile. Ruth pulls her into a hug. Alice resists for 2 seconds, then breaks down. I just did what was right. Of course you did, says Ruth, gripping her daughter's shoulders. God gave you eyes and courage. They said I wanted visibility. Alice laughs without humor. If I wanted visibility, I wouldn't be cleaning floors at night. Ruth has her sit. You want tea or coffee? Water. Her voice is raw. Ruth brings a glass, holding it with her. We learn early not to make noise, but when someone's dying, noise is life. You made the right noise. Alice nods silently. Her phone vibrates again. New email. Formal suspension. Conduct outside of role. She closes the screen. Mom, church is on Sunday. I think I need to hear the choir. We'll go together. Together. The Baptist church on Prairie Avenue is rehearsing when they arrive. Wooden pews, warm-colored stained glass, an old piano. Pastor Evelyn, a black woman with short gray hair and deep eyes, is talking with the choir director. Alice approaches, shy. Pastor, can I sit for a bit? You can and you should, Evelyn replies, opening her arms. You've got the look of someone who carried the world on their back today. Alice tells the story in clipped phrases. Ambulance, stroke, HR, suspension, visibility. The pastor listens, without interrupting. When Alice finishes, the silence is soft. In places full of glass, Evelyn says, people become reflections. You reminded them they're flesh. She holds Alice's hand. You are not alone. Dignity doesn't depend on a badge. But what if I lose my job? The question slips out before she can stop it. Losing a job isn't losing your purpose, the pastor replies. And purpose opens doors that badges never will. The choir starts a gentle hymn. Hold on, just a little while longer. Voices rise in layers, filling Alice's chest. She breathes, finally. A short relief, but real. From the back pew, A neighbor offers her a tissue. "You were courage for someone who never imagined needing you," she whispers. The phone vibrates again. Unknown number. Alice looks at her mother, hesitates, answers. "Hello?" "Good afternoon. This is Cedars-Sinai. Mrs. Clark?" A professional male voice. "This is she. Patient David Lewis is stable. The thrombolysis was administered in time and he woke up asking to know your full name. He asked for Alice from cleaning." The pew seems to sway. Ruth grabs her daughter's arm. "He wants to thank you?" "He asked to speak with you, if possible." A pause. "But there's a situation. The company's legal team is currently restricting direct contact. If you come, it might create problems for you." Alice closes her eyes. The choir rises like the tide. "I understand," the voice softens. "It's your decision. I just thought it was fair to let you know he asked for you." The call ends. Alice holds the phone in her hand, feeling the weight of two doors. The one that closed at HR and the one that's opening at the hospital, with guards in front. Ruth leans her head against hers, an old gesture. "Daughter, what does your heart say?" Before she can answer, a message comes in. It's from an internal number, short signature. "Julian Torres, Legal Lewis Global. I need to speak with you. Urgent." Alice looks at the screen, the hymn, her mother, the stained glass. Takes a deep breath. Between the gratitude of a man who almost lost her and the machine trying to crush her, there's a thin line. And that's exactly the line she'll have to walk. Julian's message still glows on the screen when the hymn ends. Alice breathes deeply, calls back. His voice is firm, tired. "This is Julian Torres, legal at Lewis Global. Mr. Lewis woke up. He wants to speak with you. I can authorize your visit as a personal guest, but I have to warn you, the PR team wants to make this a media piece." "You're not obligated. I'll go," Alice says. "No cameras. No performance." Cedars-Sinai, late afternoon. The hall. Smells like antiseptic and vending machine coffee. In the elevator, Alice sees her reflection. Perfect bun, simple uniform, eyes marked by a sleepless night. A security agent checks her name. "Mrs. Clark, room 12B. The door to 12B slides open. The room is quiet, except for the rhythmic beep of the monitor. David looks paler than in the office, unshaven, hospital bracelet on his wrist. Beside him, Julian, discreet suit, open notebook. David slowly turns his head. "Ali, C." He savors the syllables. "Hi, Mr. Lewis. How are you feeling?" "Alive." He breathes. "Thank you." Alice steps closer, not touching him. "I just made the call. The team did the rest." "You saw first," his speech still falters. "I'm sorry for what they did to you today. It's my fault." "It's not personal," Alice says. "It's culture, and culture has owners." Julian clears his throat. "May I note that there's an intention to review policies?" He turns to Alice. "PR wants a photo with a standard message." "I know you're not a prop." The door cracks open. A woman in a navy blazer enters. "Mrs. Clark, I'm Megan. From Corporate Communications. Just a quick photo next to Mr. Lewis, 2 minutes, and a line. Lewis cares about people." Alice looks at her. "I'm not a trophy. And I won't say what isn't true." Megan forces a smile. "The press has already called. If we don't control this, it turns into a story against you too." David inhales. "Megan, no photo, no post." "David, the board." "I am the board." Megan swallows hard and leaves. Julian takes notes. "We're going to need an ethical path forward." Alice, no NDA, just guidance. "I'm not." Signing silence. "But I can stay quiet until you get your house in order." David watches every word. "I want to fix this. First aid training for everyone. Alice looks at him. If you're going to do it right. AEDs, posters, drills. Can you help me? I'm suspended. If I get too close, they'll crush me. I'll fix it, David says, looking at Julian. Carefully, the lawyer replies. Nothing involving her career goes through you, David nods. Sorry about the toxic house. People change houses, Alice says. But it starts with admitting it hurt. They look at each other. Not a CEO and a janitor. Two survivors. A nurse enters, checks the monitors. They beep differently, rhythms fluctuating. Normal, but we'll keep an eye on it. She leaves. Alice's phone buzzes. A photo of Lewis Global's lobby. Executives whispering a paper with her name. Caption, hero or opportunist? They've already started, she says. David reads it in her eyes. I'll stop it. It's not just up to you, but it's up to you to start now. He lifts his four-lined hand. Thank you for seeing me. I want to learn. The door swings open urgently. Megan returns, followed by a gray-haired man. David, we need to talk. The press has the hallway video. And the board president is on the line. Julian steps in front. You can wait outside. They can't. The man raises his phone. On the screen, a paused video player shows Alice kneeling beside David. If this video goes public without control, the market will react. And he points to Alice, becomes the center of a labor case that could cost millions. The room shrinks. Alice holds her breath. David looks at her, and for a second he seems like the man from yesterday, surrounded by glass. The monitor beeps mark the time. Then decide, Megan says. Either we tell the story, or someone tells it for us. The next 48 hours are a whirlwind of medical meetings, tightly managed interviews, and messages between lawyers. The hallway video hasn't gone public yet, but it hangs over everyone like a storm about to break. David is granted partial discharge, back home, but under strict speech therapy and physical rehab. In the late afternoon, Alice arrives at the Cedar-Sinai Rehab Center. The hallway is bathed in warm light, smelling of hand sanitizer and the sweet scent of flowers and vases. She's holding a worn paperback, a collection of American short stories. David is seated, wearing a plain gray cotton shirt and sweatpants, stripped of the armor of suits. The speech therapist, a calm-spoken Asian woman, adjusts a tablet with exercises. Initial sounds, Mr. Lewis. Repeat. Pa-ta-ka. Pa-ta-ka, he says, stumbling slightly on the last. Alice smiles. It'll get better. Can I help? The therapist nods. He needs to practice reading aloud and repetition. Having someone he trusts might help. Alice sits across from him, opens the book. Let's try something more interesting than random syllables. It's a Steinbeck story. I read, you repeat. She reads, The wind blew hard that morning. David repeats, struggling with blue. Laughs at himself. Bull. Woo. Almost. Relax your shoulder. Try again. He gets it right. They both smile. The laughter breaks the weight of the day. Between sentences and corrections, there. Conversation spills outside the exercise. David asks about her. Do you work more than one job? Yes. I clean at Lewis Global at night and at a condo in the morning. My mom has high blood pressure, so I cover the big bills. Rent eats up almost everything. He lowers his eyes, swallowing quiet guilt. I never thought how heavy that is for those who are there every day. And you? She asks back. When you're not closing million-dollar deals, what do you do? A brief silence. He looks out the rehab window where a slice of the city is visible. Almost nothing. Work swallows me. Empty house. Dinner. Alone. friendships, of convenience. Alice watches him. It's the first time he seems smaller than the position. Then we have something in common. I also come home to the sound of the clock. Speech therapy ends, but they keep talking. She tells him about her mother singing in the church choir, the neighbor who makes the best cornbread in the neighborhood, the nights when rain hits the roof and seems to wash away the weight of the day. He shares about his distant father, the pressure of maintaining the family empire, the fear of admitting he doesn't always want to be the man everyone expects. Days turn into weeks. After work, Alice shows up for sessions, some at the clinic, others at his apartment, overlooking LA. At first, she stands, reading or correcting pronunciation. Over time, she sits on the couch, accepts a cup of tea. One night after an exercise, he holds the book she brought. "Why do you do this for me?" "Because I saw fear in your eyes." "And because you're human, David, before you're a CEO. He tilts his head, voice lower. "And what if I say, I want more than gratitude?" She smiles, but with firmness. "No promises while you're still my boss." "That protects us both." He nods, a bit frustrated, but respectful. "Then, I'll wait." The wall clock marks the end of the session. Alice stands, packs the book. As she reaches the door, he calls out, "Alice!" She turns. "When I speak perfectly, I want my first sentence to be for you." She holds his gaze a second longer than she should, then walks out, his words echoing in step with her down the hallway. On the sidewalk, her phone vibrates. A message from an unknown number. "The video's been sold. It airs tomorrow." The morning after the video leak is cold and gray, as if Los Angeles decided to hide. Alice is on the bus, phone in her lap, avoiding the notifications. A message from Julian arrives. "Medical meeting with David. Please come. It's important." At Cedars-Sinai, the executive floor hallway smells like coffee and new paper. Alice enters the office with Julian. David sits at the head of the table, more serious than she's ever seen him, wearing a light blue button-up shirt, sleeves rolled. Next to him, Dr. Patel, the cardiologist, dark-skinned, firm expression, tablet in hand. "Mr. Lewis," the doctor begins, "we have the full results. The stroke was caused by a clot that originated from a heart rhythm disorder called atrial fibrillation. In your case, it's been present for weeks, maybe months." David clenches his hands. "Months?" "Yes, and it was masked by your lifestyle. Too much caffeine, many sleepless nights, international flights, chronic stress. Your body was asking for help, but the signs were ignored." Alice, silent, feels a knot in her throat. Julian asks, "What signs?" The doctor turns the tablet, showing graphs. "Your smartwatch recorded episodes of irregular heartbeat. The alerts were sent to the corporate health app. Here, 4 notifications in the last month." David frowns. "I never saw those alerts." The doctor looks at Julian. "According to protocol, that data goes to the corporate health manager and the personal assistant." David turns to Julian. "So someone saw them and didn't tell me." Silence. Julian closes his notebook slowly. "I need to confirm it, but if that's true?" Alice can't hold back. "They shielded you from your own body to protect. Targets and bonuses, David. If you stop to get treatment, the stock might dip. So they gambled with your life." He stares at the floor, his breathing heavy. "My closest circle knew." Dr. Patel cuts in. "This isn't just an ethical failure. It's a legal issue. You have the right to hold accountable anyone who withheld this information." David lifts his eyes, hardened. "Julian, I want every record. Who got the data, when they got it, and what they did with it." Julian writes quickly, "Understood." Alice leans slightly toward him. Now do you understand why I couldn't wait for protocol that night? David exhales, something breaking inside. I do, and I owe you my life. The silence that follows isn't empty. It's filled with the things left unsaid, his betrayal, her validation, and the certainty that this discovery changes everything. The doctor ends with a blunt warning. If we don't change your routine, next time you might not get a second chance. As they leave the office, Julian gets an urgent call. He listens, his expression tightening. David, the name of the person who blocked the alerts, just came up. It's someone you won't want to believe. David stops in the hallway. Who? Julian hesitates. Your right-hand man, Ethan Cole. David closes his eyes like he's been hit in the chest by an invisible blow. Alice sees his hand tremble and instinctively moves toward him, but he raises a hand, asking for a moment. He opens his eyes. This changes the game. Before they can say anything else, a reporter appears at the end of the hallway, camera in hand. Mr. Lewis, Ms. Clark. A comment on the internal betrayal. And the suspected medical cover-up? The flash pops, and the three of them stand frozen in the hallway, caught between the truth that's starting to leak and the storm about to consume them. The camera flash is still burning in Alice's vision when later that night, her phone won't stop vibrating. It's not just messages from people she knows, it's social media blowing up. She opens a video sent by a West Plain coworker and freezes. It's the security footage from the 48th floor hallway. She sees herself, from behind, walking toward David. Then, in close-up, her steady face and clear voice. Can you lift both arms for me? His right arm fails. Say your full name. Slurred speech. Then her on the phone, suspected stroke. Male, 38, slurred speech, uneven smile, arm weakness. Address, Lewis Global, downtown LA. The video isn't edited, no dramatic cuts, just the truth. And that truth spreads like dry wildfire. The next morning, it's everywhere. Local channels replay the scene, experts comment live. This woman saved the CEO because she recognized the signs. Anchors ask outraged questions, and they suspended her? At home, Alice's mother watches with a tissue in hand. Baby, look at this. The whole country's talking about you. Alice holds the remote, stunned. I didn't want to be famous like this. I just wanted him to stay alive. The phone rings. It's Julian. Get ready. The board held an emergency meeting. The pressure is massive. You're going to get an official call in minutes, and she does. It's Karen, the HR manager who suspended her. The voice is controlled, but rushed. Ms. Clark, after reviewing the facts, the company has decided to reinstate you immediately. Retroactive pay will be deposited tomorrow, along with a lifesaver bonus. Alice doesn't let it slide. I'm not accepting. A prize to clean up your image. Karen takes a deep breath. It's not about image. It's recognition. Then start by saying sorry. An uncomfortable pause. I'm sorry. A few hours later, a press conference is announced. David, his speech still slightly affected from recovery, appears beside Alice, this time by his own choice. This woman saved my life. And starting today, everyone in this company, from the C-suite to interns, will undergo mandatory first aid and defibrillator training. No one should have to depend on luck to survive. Reporters shout questions. Mr. Lewis, is this a reaction to the video's impact? He looks into the cameras. This is a response to a failure. And failures shouldn't be hidden. They should be corrected. Alice stands beside him, serious, facing the sea of microphones. She doesn't smile, doesn't pose. She just stands, simple uniform, hair tied back, presence that speaks for itself. As they walk off stage, David leans in and whispers so only she can hear. They're applauding the hero. But I know you didn't do it for applause. No, she answers. I did it because no one else was looking. On the way out, a maintenance worker holds the door open for her. Thank you, Miss Clark. Now we know what to do if it happens to one of us. Alice feels the weight and reach of the moment. But before she can respond, Julian appears with his phone in hand, expression grave. There's something else. The video? It wasn't leaked by a stranger. We found out who released it. Who? David asks, tense. Julian hesitates. It was someone inside, and the reason isn't as simple as it seems. Julian's revelation still hangs in the air, but in the days that follow, the media frenzy starts to fade. David, now further along in his recovery, resumes his routine, with daily physical therapy and shorter meetings. Alice, reinstated at work, keeps her distance from him outside of what's necessary, and that, in a way, bothers him more than he wants to admit. One night, after 9, Alice's phone rings. It's a number she recognizes. She answers, keeping her voice neutral. Mr. Lewis? On the other end, he hesitates. David, at least when we're not in the office. All right. David, I'd like to invite you to dinner. No press, no agenda. Just to say thank you. For real. Alice's silence is long enough for him to add, if you don't want to, I understand. It's not that I don't want to, she replies. But as long as you're still my boss, it's not right. What happened between us is complicated. He takes a deep breath. Then let's simplify it. I'll step away from any decision related to your career. No promotions, no changes, nothing I sign off on. That way, there's no imbalance. It's not just about a signature. It's perception, how people look at it. I don't want anyone to look at you like you owe me something. His voice is lower now, closer. I want them to see what I saw in that hallway, someone who doesn't hesitate. The next day, David calls Julian into his office. Make it official. I want a document stating I have no influence over her career. Julian writes it down, but looks up. If I do this, she'd be free to move forward, and also free to say no to any invitation from you. I know, David replies without hesitation. 2 weeks later, Alice is called to legal. The room is small but well lit, with a glass table and 2 chairs. Julian is there with a contract open. This document guarantees that the CEO will have no influence over your career. And also, we have an offer. She frowns. An offer? Coordinator of Health and Safety. You've already proven you have practical knowledge and initiative. It's a new position created to implement and oversee first aid training. It's optional. To accept. Higher salary, better benefits. But no direct contact with David. Alice looks at the paper. She reads slowly. Each clause feels like a step she unknowingly built herself. Is this based on merit? Julian gives a slight smile. Completely. It was a board decision. You earned this. She places her hands on the table and takes a deep breath. I accept. But I want the freedom to extend this training to third-party teams too, not just full-time employees. Done, Julian says, noting it in the contract. As she signs, Alice feels a mix of relief and loss. The new role is a win, but it also means fewer unexpected encounters with David, fewer conversations broken by quiet smiles. Later, as she leaves the building with the folder in hand, she receives a message from him. Congratulations, you deserve. And I'll wait. She smiles to herself, but puts the phone away without replying. Some stories need to mature away from the spotlight. However, As she boards the bus, a news alert pops up on her phone. David Lewis's former close advisor summoned to testify on medical data cover-up. Beside it, a photo of Ethan Cole getting into a black car, his face hard. Alice closes the screen, but she knows the storm isn't over and that somehow she'd be pulled into its eye. The Beverly Hilton ballroom glows under golden chandeliers. Perfectly set tables, line glasses, white lily arrangements. It's the night of the annual gala honoring first responders and civilians who saved lives. Alice wears a deep blue dress, simple but elegant, with her hair down in soft waves. She feels the weight of being there not as a janitor, but as an honored guest. David arrives shortly after in a perfectly tailored black tuxedo. He spots her from afar and for a moment forgets everything else. He walks over, greeting her with a quiet smile. "You look absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Tonight is about all of us, not just me," she replies, glancing away so she won't get lost in his gaze. The event continues with speeches, applause, and stories of heroism. During the third round of acknowledgments, Alice notices something. David touches his chest subtly. His breathing quickens. His smile starts to look forced. She rises, crosses the ballroom, and speaks quietly into his ear. "Come with me, now." He tries to wave it off. It's just nerves. "Don't argue, now." She leads him through a side exit, ignoring curious stares. In the dim hallway, her tone is firm. "How many beats?" David closes his eyes, trying to gauge. "Over 100, too fast." She places her hand on his wrist, feeling the irregular rush. "Stay still, breathe with me," he follows. She subtly signals to a security guard who calls the event's medical team without drawing attention. 2. Paramedics arrive, take a reading. Supraventricular tachycardia. Protocol begins. Within minutes, a few simple maneuvers bring his rhythm back to normal. Once the paramedics step away, confirming no immediate risk, Alice leads him to a side balcony where the sounds of the gala are muted. The night air is cool, and the lights of Los Angeles shimmer in the distance. David leans on the railing, still catching his breath. I'm scared." She looks at him serious. "Of what?" "Of dying incomplete. Of leaving this life without really having lived. Always chasing the next deal, the next number, and leaving what really matters for later." Alice steps closer. "I'm scared too." He looks at her, surprised. "Of what?" "Of loving at a disadvantage. Of giving myself to someone the world already says is more than me, and losing myself in the process." The silence between them is thick, but not cold. He steps forward, then again, until they're close enough that her scent blends with his. "I don't want you to lose anything," he murmurs. "Not yourself, and not the chance to feel." She breathes deeply, like she's making a long-postponed decision. "Then let's not hide it." And under the soft light of the balcony, with the city as a distant witness, he rests his forehead against hers before sealing a tender, slow kiss, not rushed, but full of promise. When they part, there's no guilt or awkwardness. Julian had already set up the ethical firewall, and they both knew there was no conflict of interest. But before they can return to the ballroom, David's phone vibrates. He reads the message and his expression shifts. Ethan disappeared. He didn't show up to testify. Alice feels the air turn cold around them. The gala's music feels miles away. "That's not good, David." Ethan's disappearance ignites a wave of tension inside Lewis Global. Within weeks, the Independent audit ordered by the board delivers its report. The pages are a cold inventory of abuse, unattainable targets imposed on managers, internal emails showing direct orders to suppress medical alerts, and a culture that treated signs of burnout as lack of commitment. David reads the report in silence in the boardroom. Julian sits beside him, and Alice, invited by the ethics committee, watches from a corner chair. When he finishes, David closes the folder and says only, "It's over. That doesn't happen here anymore." The following month, real changes begin. Mandatory 15-minute breaks every 2 hours, full coverage of medical and mental health. Consultations, fatigue monitors for drivers and operators, and a new scholarship program for employees and contractors. The rollout isn't handled by marketing, but through open meetings, and for the first time, Alice speaks officially to everyone. In the auditorium, she holds the microphone with confidence. What happened with me and Mr. Lewis wasn't luck. It was awareness. Knowing the signs of a stroke, cardiac arrest, or choking isn't a luxury, it's a survival tool. And now every one of you will have that tool. The applause is sincere, coming from technicians, assistants, and managers alike. And it spreads across the city. Alice begins visiting community centers in Inglewood, public schools, and churches, teaching the FAST protocol and how to use AEDs. Local media covers the initiative, but she refuses flashy titles. "I'm not a hero. I'm proof that knowledge is power." Meanwhile, the romance between her and David doesn't erupt in grand gestures. It matures through simple moments. One Saturday, he comes to her house for lunch. Ruth, Alice's mother, watches him serve himself beans and rice like it's the first real meal he's ever had. He's handsome, but does he know how to listen? She whispers to her daughter. In the kitchen, Alice smiles. He's learning, and he truly is. When they walk through the neighborhood streets, he doesn't give orders or try to impress. He asks about the murals on the walls, about the lady selling cake on the sidewalk, about the band rehearsing in a garage. "I've never seen LA like this," he confesses. At night, in the car before dropping her off, he says, "You taught me how to pause. And for the first time, I like what I see when I stop." Their bond grows through honesty. She doesn't hold back when he slips back into too much CEO mode. And he, in turn, reminds her she doesn't have to carry the world alone. With each encounter, there's less weight of who's more and more clarity of we're both. But like all peace, this one is fragile too. On a Monday morning, Alice receives a plain brown envelope with no return address. Inside are printed copies of text messages, conversations between Ethan and another executive discussing buying, silence and non-disclosure agreements for people who knew too much. She closes the envelope, heart racing. The last printed message isn't about David. It's about someone referred to as Sace. And the final line reads, "She can't open her mouth or everything collapses." Alice stands still, staring at those words, knowing this could change not only the company, but their entire lives again. The envelope and its contents took weeks to be fully investigated. Ethan was found in Nevada, and the internal scandal that threatened to reopen Lewis Global's wounds ended in permanent removals and new transparency measures. Slowly the dust began to settle. Months later, on a sunny Saturday, Inglewood Central Plaza is full. Children run between food stalls, the smell of roasted corn mixing with fresh coffee from a local stand. A small stage is set up with microphones, colorful banners, and chairs for community leaders, teachers, and families. Alice is there, wearing a simple white shirt and dark jeans, her hair loose in the breeze. Beside her, David, in a light blue shirt without a tie, holds her hand. It's the first time they appear together publicly outside the corporate world. The MC announces, "Today we launched the Clark Lewis Fund, dedicated to training students and teachers in public schools in first aid, stroke recognition, and use of defibrillators. A project born from a real and life-changing story." The microphone is handed to David. He breathes, looks out at the crowd, and begins. Months ago, I was a man who believed he could control everything. That work and numbers were above everything else. Then, in the middle of the night, my body proved me wrong, and someone my company had never truly seen saved my life. He squeezes Alice's hand. Alice Clark taught me that hierarchy cannot silence humanity. That paying attention can be the difference between life and death. And that power only makes sense when it protects the vulnerable. Alice takes the microphone. Her voice is firm, but carries the emotion only someone who's lived it understands. That day, I didn't think about my badge, about protocol, or about who he was. I saw someone who needed help. And the truth is, in the United States, we're efficiency. And results usually speak louder. Noticing someone else is almost a revolutionary act. She takes a deep breath. Love is not a fairy tale. It's a daily choice. It's presence, respect, and courage. And it doesn't have to be just between two people. It can be love for your community, for your neighbor, for the stranger who crosses your path. The audience rises, applauding. Some wipe their eyes. In the corner, a teenage girl holds a first aid kit she just received and says to her friend, "If someone gets sick at school one day, I'll know what to do." David looks at Alice and she returns the look with a calm smile. It's not the intense glow of a newly lit flame, but the steady light of something built brick by brick. As they step off the stage, he whispers, "You changed my life." "And you changed mine," she replies, squeezing his hand out as they walk through the plaza, greeting people and taking pictures with families. Alice spots her mother sitting on a bench, smiling proudly. Ruth lifts her hand and waves, and Alice feels that, for the first time, everything is in place. The future still holds uncertainties, but in that moment, under the sun, with the sound of children laughing and David's hand in hers, she knows the choice they made to see each other, to respect, to protect, is what will keep everything standing. And so, what did you think of this story? I'd really love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment and rate it from 0 to 10. If you enjoyed it, like the video. Share it with someone who needs this message too, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next stories. And before you go, I've already picked out another emotional story that I'm sure will touch you even more. Watch it now.